Betrayal haunted him in the faces of his siblings, who had joined him in the rebellion but might also harbor ambitions. Rhea, a goddess of great strength and wisdom, noted her husband's change in demeanor. His once warm gaze had grown cold and distant. She felt the burden of his inner turmoil, but dared not speak of it. The curse lay heavily on them both. In desperation, Cronus hatched a plan both cruel and cunning. To thwart the curse, he would devour each of his offspring as soon as they were born. He believed this act would protect him and his reign. The first child, Hestia, was born amid screams of struggle and love. Before Rhea could cradle her precious daughter, Cronus snatched the infant and swallowed her whole, steel-tipped remorse piercing his heart. In the realm of the Titans, where the air was thick with the aroma of power and ambition, Cronus, the formidable ruler, had taken his sister, the Titaness Rhea, as his queen. She was a radiant beacon of hope and nurturing, providing strength and comfort, yet burdened with unspeakable sorrow. Their union, albeit strange to the mortal eye, was destined to bring forth a lineage of gods, each with their own destiny etched within the fabric of the universe. The children of Cronus and Rhea were born as virtuous and distinct beings. First, there was Hestia, the embodiment of warmth and hospitality. She was the goddess of the hearth, bringing light and comfort to the homes where families gathered. Then came Demeter, the gentle goddess of the harvest, who took pleasure in the bounty of the earth. Following her was Hera, the powerful goddess of marriage, determined to uphold the sanctity and unity of wedlock with the strength and grace to rule beside her future husband. Hades, the foreboding lord who had come to rule the underworld, emerged with a quiet focus on justice. Poseidon arrived with the roar of the oceans, destined to command the seas with a trident in hand, his moods as unpredictable as the waters. Yet, a darkened prophecy loomed over Cronus, a curse spoken in hushed tones around fires, the fear that one of his offspring might rise to overthrow him. The bloodline carried the thread of rebellion, stirring a tempest of fear within him. It was this fear that twisted Cronus's love into madness and desperation. Each newborn child was seen not as a blessing, but as a threat. The moment their fragile cries filled the air, Cronus acted with terrifying swiftness. One by one, each child was taken and devoured, swallowed whole by their father, the darkness enveloping them within his being. It was his attempt to preserve his throne and defy destiny. Rhea, devastated by the loss of her children, felt her heart shatter into pieces each time she handed over a beautiful infant only to watch them disappear into the abyss of Cronus's body. Her cries were the echoes of pain and mourning that reverberated throughout the Titan realm. Though silent in her mourning, Rhea's sorrow grew into fierce determination. She vowed that not all her words of love for her children would go in vain, nor her spirit be crushed by her husband's fear. Observing Cronus's growing arrogance and paranoia, she started to formulate a plan, a whispered promise born from her tears that soon the cycle of loss and betrayal would end. Her enduring struggle would someday alter the fate of immortals and mortals alike. Rhea sat on a rocky cliffside, the wind wailing through the crags like a mourning woman. Her heart was heavy with grief. Cronus, in his relentless hunger for power and fear of a prophecy, had swallowed every one of her children as they had been born. Each time she had felt joy at their arrival, it was cruelly snuffed out as they disappeared, devoured by their own father. Desperation led Rhea to her mother, Gaia, the ancient and wise earth. Gaia's heart ached for her daughter, whose tears watered the land. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, turning the sky to hues of sorrow and hope, Rhea poured out all her anguish and her desires for a different future. "Mother," she pleaded, "I cannot bear to lose another child. Help me, please." Gaia, ancient and strong, nodded solemnly. Her voice was a comforting rumble, like far-off thunder. "We'll find a way, child. Together, we will save your next offspring." Thus, under the vast canopy of stars, they forged a plan. Gaia instructed Rhea to journey to a distant cave hidden from the eyes of gods and men alike, a place known only to those of the earth. When the time came for Rhea to give birth once more, the pressures were different this time. She felt a strange but reassuring strength inside her, a culmination of the earth's wisdom and her own determination. On the sacred ground of Gaia's chosen site, Rhea bore her son, Zeus, with joy and defiance. As soon as he was born, Rhea swaddled the infant in nurturing, warm coverings and placed a stone wrapped in cloth in his stead. With a heavy heart but resolute spirit, she presented the bundle to Cronus. Cronus, hubristically confident, took the bundle without suspicion. So accustomed was he to his routine, he did not dare to suspect Rhea's ruse. With grim satisfaction, he swallowed the stone whole. Unbeknownst to Cronus, his son was safely hidden away. Nurtured by nymphs and under Gaia's vigilant watch, Zeus grew stronger with each passing year, away from his father's malicious reach. This momentary victory, orchestrated by Gaia's wisdom and Rhea's bravery, was a turning point. One day, Zeus would rise to challenge Cronus, to free his siblings, and to change the course of time itself. In the end, it was a mother's love and a grandmother's knowledge that would shape the destiny not just of their family, but of the entire cosmos. And so, the seeds of revolution were sown, watered with the tears of a mother and the strength of the earth. In a time shrouded by myth and legend, Rhea found herself once more with child. This time, her resolve was steadfast. She would not allow the fate of her previous children, swallowed by their power-hungry father Cronus, to befall this newborn. For months, she plotted, weaving a perilous plan involving deception and secrecy. Aware of Cronus' insatiable fear of being overthrown, foretold by a prophecy that one of his descendants would rise against him, Rhea knew she had to act swiftly and cunningly. She traveled under the cover of darkness to the island of Crete, a land far removed from the prying eyes of her husband. Upon reaching the rugged island, Rhea ascended the towering ridges of Mount Ida, their peaks seemingly grazing the heavens themselves. It was here, in a secluded and sacred nook, that she entrusted her unborn child to the care of the nymphs. These divine protectors cloistered the cave, ensuring its secrecy against Cronus' pervasive vigilance. The night when Zeus was born was one unlike any other. The air hummed with energy, vibrating with the whispers of both spirits and winds that hurried to announce the monumental birth. The nymphs danced, their movements fluid and graceful, fostering an aura of serenity as they wrapped the newborn Zeus in swaddling cloths made from ethereal fibers that glowed with an inner light. Rhea held her son for the first time, her heart swelling with both joy and the weight of the sacrifice she knew she must make to keep him safe. In his small form, she could already glimpse traces of greatness. To keep Cronus deceived, Rhea devised an audacious ruse. She shaped a stone to resemble a bundle of a newborn and presented it to Cronus, who, too consumed by his fear, swallowed it whole, convinced he had thwarted the prophecy once more. Meanwhile, Zeus grew surrounded by the nurturing presence of the nymphs. As he matured, it became evident that he was no ordinary child. On the island of Crete, time moved differently among the divine, and so he developed quickly, possessing both strength and wisdom, guided by a heart forged from destiny. His upbringing in the cave on Mount Ida laid the foundation that would equip him with the fortitude to confront the pantheon of titans and eventually ascend to his rightful place as the supreme deity. Thus begins the tale of Zeus, nurtured in seclusion, shielded under the wings of maternal love and celestial care, capable of altering the very fabric of fate and changing the course of divine history forever. Under the ancient, looming Mount Ada, the tense buzzing of anticipation filled the air, for it was here that Cronus, the mighty Titan, lorded over all creation. In the shadow of this ominous mountain, Rhea, his wife, stood resolute, determination etched on her face like a sculptor's signature. Her gaze was as steady as the horizon line, her purpose clear: to save her newborn son, Zeus, from his father's insatiable hunger for power. Cronus, a towering figure with eyes as cold as stone, had devoured each of his earlier children, hoping to thwart the prophecy of his eventual usurpation. The hill of fate loomed, ever foreboding, casting its shadow on the clandestine hearts of those who dared to dream of rebellion against him. Yet Rhea, daring and quick-witted, devised a plan born of desperation and love. With her hands trembling, yet resolute, Rhea swaddled a stone, a weighty, ordinary thing, within fine cloth, mimicking a newborn's fragile form with meticulous care. Her pulse thudded in her ears as she approached the Titan, each step echoing her courage and the rhythmic ticking of fate. "Behold," declared Rhea, her voice unwavering, her courage bolstered by fear rather than diminished. "Our newest offspring, worthy to grace the halls of Olympus." Cronus watched her closely, suspicion flickering in his gaze, an ember of doubt kindling within the fortress of his confidence. His thoughts lingered on betrayal, the specter of prophecy whispering its relentless chorus to him. Yet, consumed by his desperation, a desperation forged by treachery and fear, he seized the shrouded stone. Every vibration in the cosmos seemed to still, the valley holding its breath. Cronus's hand, unyielding and prepossessed, hovered above the swaddled bundle, searching, scrutinizing the deception hidden within. With a determination born of terror, he swallowed it whole, his only defense against the specter of downfall. Though the act was swift, it marked a poignant moment in the tale of Greek mythos. Hidden away in a sacred cave on the island of Crete, Zeus was nursed by the nymphs. These benevolent spirits cared for the infant deity, ensuring his safety and growth far from the eyes of his vengeful father, Cronus. Nourished by the milk of the divine goat, Amalthea, Zeus was infused with strength and vitality that would become legendary. The cave echoed with the sounds of the island's winds and the whispers of its ancient trees. Here, Zeus was also protected by ferocious guardians known as the Curetes. These warriors performed an elaborate dance, clashing their shields and spears to mask the cries of the infant Zeus, ensuring that Cronus would not discover him. The nymphs and Curetes worked tirelessly, knowing that one day this child would be destined to unseat the Titans and their cruel reign. They taught him wisdom, stealth, and the secrets of the divine, shaping him into a being of unparalleled potential. As Zeus grew, he absorbed these teachings eagerly, his heart aflame with the desire to take his rightful place among the gods. The passage of time was marked by a subtle but undeniable change in the nature surrounding the sacred cave. The trees grew taller, the rivers clearer, as if the earth itself was preparing for the rise of the new king. Zeus's presence became more commanding, his aura marked by a quiet power that promised revolution and hope. As he matured, Zeus would wander the woods of Crete, aware of his destiny, but patient in his approach. His years in the hidden cave solidified his resolve, ensuring that when the time was right, he would challenge the tyranny of the Titans. From humble beginnings under the care of those who believed in his potential, Zeus grew stronger, wiser, and ready for the challenges that lay ahead. The prophecy of his future echoed like a drumbeat in his mind, driving him forward into the annals of myth. Subscribe now. The Titanomachy is coming.